It's Krez. In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace a grease cartridge in the M18 Milwaukee Grease Gun. So you're in the middle of using this guy and you run out of grease. First of all, how do you tell you're out of grease? Two things. The first one, you're not going to have any grease coming through. The second way is going to be, you'll notice that it makes a little different noise, and I'll give you a comparison of what it sounds like when it's actually pumping grease for when it isn't, so you can kind of tell. But I have on here right now, I have a grease needle because I was greasing a snowplow, so you need a needle for greasing the joints on a V-plow. So we're gonna take that off just because it's a smaller orifice. Here's what it sounds like when it's empty. And this is what it sounds like when the grease is starting to pump through it. How do you change out the grease tube in this guy? It's a pretty quick process. It'll take you less than 5 minutes. The thing you'll find is that you can't pull this plunger back at all when it's empty. So it's stuck in there good. Here we're gonna grab this whole tube here. We're gonna twist counterclockwise. There's fine threads up here, and this whole thing is gonna come out for us. Just like so. You'll see we have a little bit of grease left in there, not a whole lot. And then, once we've taken this whole thing out, we should be able to pull the plunger backwards. You'll see how it's kind of cocked off to the side instead of straight. You'll notice there's a little slot here, so when you pull it back, you hook it up into that slot right there. Pull back, pop it up into that slot, and it holds it back. Then we can take our tube out. I'm just using a heavy equipment grease. They make different types, obviously, for different applications. So we're gonna take that like so. I got a little bit of it sticking out the side. Try to keep it nice and neat. This side, you know, your beer can side, if you want to call it that, because it's got a tube, a pop tab basically. We're gonna take that off. One of the things you'll notice is that the grease is a little further in there than, you know, it's maybe sitting an inch back or so in the tube. So we're gonna have an air pocket here. But this metal part of the can is the part that goes in the front of the can where our threads are, because then this whole thing, there's a rubber seal inside here that this is going to seat against. So you don't want to put it in backwards, otherwise you just got cardboard here and it's not going to seal. So that plastic cap comes off. That's the side that goes towards our plunger and that we put into this sleeve first, like so. And then you'll see it slides back in there, and we'll get pretty close. You can take it, push it in a little bit, and that metal seat of the grease tube will come and almost sit against this. It'll get pushed in as we thread it in. Take this whole assembly and slide it back in. And then we're ready to release our plunger. So we're gonna pull back, push that forward. And then you'll see it kind of sucks in a little bit. And then you can go ahead and push it all the way in. There we go. So we got grease flowing again. You can kind of hear the motor now that we have grease, and it makes like a clicking noise more so. And we are back in business. If you can't get grease to come out of here, this gun has an air purge valve, and I will show that to you. You'll see right on the front of the gun, there's this little thing here, and it's gonna spit grease out on me. And then, so you'll see it's will spit air out. Right now it's spitting out grease because there's no air in there. But if you can't get grease to come out your end, you can purge the air bubble right there. I'll have an unboxing and or review video up at some point on this. I bought it because at some point when you start getting into a lot of different pieces of heavy equipment, you have a lot of grease certs and just fittings to grease and maintain. And well, not having to do all of that with a hand grease pump is pretty great. So that's why I got this, guys. So far I've been pretty pleased with it. So there you have it. That is how you replace a grease cartridge on the Milwaukee M18 Grease Gun. And with that, may your heavy equipment fittings and burgers always stay greasy.